Hello and welcome everyone. In this video I'm going to test the new plugin LVL-01 by Tone Empire. I only have the demo version because I am not sure if I want it yet. I hope the demo version is not too annoying, and I'm testing it with this beat. Okay, I must say I already like that it's resizable. That makes it very useful for streaming like this, because I can just make the interface very large and then you can see it very nicely even on mobile phones. That's not always the case when I'm making videos. However, I don't like the spaces between the things, like UI wise, because in practice when I will use it later, obviously I will make it very small and then suddenly this knob is going to be so small that I cannot even read it anymore, because there is just too much space between the things. So you cannot really make it that small. You have to make it at least this big for everything to be readable and nicely touchable. And that kinda sucks, to be honest. So let's make it big again. I'm not only complaining about this plugin, by the way. This is just a thing in plugins lately in general, that people always make 10 kilometers of space between the things and you are just like, okay, that looks nice, but you know, sometimes I have other plugins next to the plugin and then I still want to be able to see everything. And look, even Pro C, a plugin with tons of more parameters, just has a tighter space and it looks nicer as well. So what's the point in doing this? I don't get it. Prisma also has much more features and way less space. So what the fuck is up with everyone? Now I really want to stop complaining and actually start listening to the sound. Now I have some drums here, as you have already heard. And at the moment I'm just compressing them with Pro C2. As you can probably tell, my goal is to smash the drums a little bit. We don't want too many transients in these drums, because it's one of these more modern types of vintage sound where you try to pretend like everything was smashed to death with tape saturation and stuff like that back in the days. And I did this with a large number of saturations, tape modeling, a clipper in parallel, Prisma, also with multiple soft clippers, and at the end a compressor. So a lot of these effects are all about smashing these drums. But now I will disable Pro C2 and instead use LVL-01 and see how that feels and what that gives me. So the first thing that I notice is that this needle here seems to be a pre-rendered image. It is not moving freely, and that is kind of annoying, because when the signal stays on the same level a lot, then you can really see the individual steps from one image to the next one. And I think that didn't have to be. The people who implemented this plugin could have just made this entire thing an image and then made an image for the needle and then used a rotation matrix to move the needle instead of having individual images for each needle position, which was probably done here. That would have been way smoother and makes more sense, especially on interfaces that can be made this large. I don't know why they didn't think of that, but that's definitely something they should consider. Now let's actually start listening to the sound. I will not do more about the UI anymore, I hope. So it seems like there is some automatic gain compensation going on in the background, but it doesn't react to the parameter values, but to the signal itself. And I think that because when you are moving very fast, then it takes some time to adjust the volume. So there are actually two compressors going on at the same time. One of them is the one that was modeled by the AI, and there is the second one that is making sure that the thing is gain matched. In that case, I would like to suggest letting us turning it off or using a different gain matching approach. Because if I got a plugin that tells me that it's better than other compressors because the method of recreating the circuit was superior to circuit modeling, then I do want to only hear this model and I don't want to hear a different compressor slapped on top non-stop. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, let's go on. Now I just want to focus more on the sound, but I keep getting distracted by things that are a little bit peculiar. Great, I love the sound of this. Now I want to compare it with my Pro C2 instance. In order to do that, I will set up an FX layer, where on one of the layers I will put Pro C2 and there will be another layer for the level 1. Enable Pro C2, and now I will make a modulator that basically dry wets the two with each other. Goes up on this one and goes down on the other one. Fit the correct values here, 1 and -1. Now I have this thing, which is the mix between the two. Now that's weird, why do they cancel out so hard when I put them on 50%? Maybe this one saturates in a way that it kinda almost flips the signal or something? No? Then I don't know why, but... Or maybe it has something to do with these volume parameters, maybe they are scaled weirdly. Now, of course, it's hard to compare these two compressors with each other because Pro C2 is just Pro C2 and this one is a compressor that tries to model some analog thing. Are they even comparable? Especially when we have this in opto mode, maybe it would be more suitable in classic mode, I don't know. I think they did a really good job. In this case, I like the sound of level 1 more than of Pro C2. Even though I have to say, if I tweaked Pro C2 some more, then that would be a possibility to get more out of the sound as well. But still, a very good test that shows that this plugin is definitely capable. Try level 1 on a different type of track now, so that we can see a little bit of different stuff. Yeah, okay, I didn't like it so much here, but maybe it's just not designed as a bus compressor. Now, Pro C2 is much more versatile with all the different things that you can change. So it's much more likely that you find a good setting in Pro C2 than in a plugin that only has basically 2 knobs for the compression. Let's also try it on some vocals.
See you at midnight, got through hot summer sounds. Walking on Friday to the next day around. A sea with blue eyes are enough guys to see. Freezing in summer with a drama for free.
Yeah, I like the sound on vocals. It's a nice sound. It's not like very different than before, but when I went denser than that with the values of the fastness or what that was, that also wasn't so good. However, Pro C2 has a dedicated vocal mode.
I see you in midnight, got through hot summer sounds. Walking on Friday to the next day around. I see you with blue eyes are in.
I also often like the opto mode for vocals.
I see you in midnight, got through hot summer sounds. Walking on Friday to the next day around.
So again, I was able to dial in much more drastical settings that still sounded good in my opinion, even though a little bit over the top for this track in particular with Pro C2. So I would say it's nice that they try to enhance the workflow of compression by just reducing the number of parameters that have to be used drastically in order to make this a very streamlined experience. And on the drums it sounded really nice, and I had trouble making such a nice setting on Pro C2. But on sounds that have more of a sustained sound, I wasn't sure if it's also the same. I felt a little bit safer with Pro C2. It's a bit of an unfair comparison though, and you have to keep that in mind when you are watching my tests, because I am using Pro C2 for lots of years now, so obviously all my memories of this plugin are so versatile that I could even compress stuff with it without listening to the actual music, which I did. You might know this video, do not use your ears, where I made a full beat without listening to it. So yeah, I can do that, and I can't do that with plugins that I'm just learning that moment. So obviously that might also be a little bit of the reason why I have an easier time working with Pro C2. But it's still an objective argument that when you have slightly more parameters, then if they are not overwhelming you, then they also give you more possibilities of crafting the sound. Plugins like the FabFilter suite, I think they just have the right balance of the amount of parameters and the workflow that it gives you. Nowadays, plugins that try to be a one knob on every occasion possible. I mean, I do appreciate the effort and sometimes it works very well, but in this case, for something as important as compression, maybe not always. If I were someone who buys compressors all the time, maybe I would buy it now. But I'm always very happy about the compressors that I already have. Actually, I have one compressor in mind that I always wanted to check out. Maybe I will do that next. I don't know yet. But that's enough for me from this video.